Okay, let's go and install a HomeLab on a powerful machine using VMware Workstation or VMware Fusion, using the latest and greatest VMware, and we can create a small HomeLab for playing purposes. And you can do all kinds of labs when you have this kind of lab at home. So I'm going to use Windows 11 machine. Just wanted to show you I'm running Windows 11 Education Foundation HP Omen disk with the 10 cores, 20 logical processors with a 64 gig RAM. You don't have to have a powerful machine like this. You can run on a similar machine, 32 gig RAM, or even on a laptop with a 16 gig RAM, as long as you can limit your VMs. But you have to have a good machine to be able to install. Since I'm running Windows 11, you have to have VMware Workstation licenses and everything ready to go. And on top of that, if you're running on a Mac, you use VMware Fusion, and if again, and you can just go do the same thing, get your licenses. Otherwise, you have 60-day licenses from free. So in order to run it, of course, I already gathered a few of the files that I needed. One of them is basically VMware Workstation 17 version, which is the latest right now, and I downloaded VMware's nested esxi appliance from William Lamb's website, and I have the VCSA downloaded from VMware.com. So, but right before I start, I want to point out something. If you do install VMware Workstation for Windows 11, some of the latest updates and upgrades actually overwrites the C++ redistributed package. What you need to do is you need to make sure that you remove them and then reinstall them from Microsoft website. So you have to do the VC Microsoft Visual C++ 2015-2019 redistributable package versus the 2023. So if I go to add and remove software here, make sure that you remove them and then you basically install the new ones. Otherwise, you're going to have DLL issues starting. Okay, let's go ahead and start installation. I'm just going to double click on this. And go ahead and launch the VMware launcher. And we're installing VMware Workstation 17 on our Windows 11 box. I'm going to go ahead and click on next. I'm going to accept the user agreement. I want to install enhanced keyboard driver, which will reboot the box, which is fine. And I'm going to pick the right path. And then I can check for updates or join the VMware Customer Experience Improvement Program. I'm going to go ahead and click on next and install the workstation. This will take a few minutes, and after the installation is completed, it will actually ask us to reboot the system. So here it is. It's pretty fast. Installing the drivers now. Workstation icon has already appeared. And what's going to happen is after a reboot, we're going to be able to, so now it's going to come up with the license or finish. I'm going to go ahead and press finish, apply the license later on, and I'm going to go ahead and restart. Since I'm on an RDP to that particular box, I'm okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to open up a command prompt and ping 192.168.1.117 is the box. So I want to see when that box comes back, then I can RDP back into it. So it's probably rebooting right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to install multiple esxi hosts, and then after that we're going to install VMware vCenter right after that. Okay, the box came back, so I can probably connect. Oh, request timeout. There's a couple of ping issues. It's okay. I'm going to Control C this window, and I should be okay. Just gonna. It's still doing something, I guess, but okay, fine. Let's exit out of here and click connect. Using my admin credentials, I'm logging back to the box. Okay, so now basically Workstation has been installed. So it's going to be, basically all we have to do is go ahead and run it. So let's go and run it for the first time. And it says, do you have a license for it? At this moment, I want to go and trial the trial 30 days. I'll apply the license later on. I'm going to click on continue. I'm going to say yes and finish the installation. And here we are. Workstation is ready to go. So all I need to do is now install my first esxi host as a, skip this version, first esxi host as a, it's on my desktop as a VM. So on my HomeLab, I already have OVA appliance that I downloaded from William Lamb's nested esxi lab environment. So I'm just going to go and double click, and I'm going to open that up with VMware Workstation. I'm going to say always, and I agree the user license agreement, name of the virtual machine. So I'm going to do esxi dash. Basically, you can name them anything you like. Sometimes it's a good idea to give them a regional name. For example, if I'm going to be, this is, let's say, New York region esxi, let's say 01, so I don't have a confusion. So I'm going to basically, and then it's automatically going to go under C users virtual machines. If you want, you can basically create a new directory. You can put it there too. Since I have SSD on this box, so I'm okay. I'm just going to go ahead and store it there. And click on next. Networking. So I'm going to basically esxi-01. IP address, everything. I'm going to go and get it by DHCP now. So I'm not going to do anything. And as far as configuration, you know, if you have syslog server, things like that, you can put it over here. As far as password goes, I'm going to give it a password. And everything else is going to be good. I'm just going to do import. So now it's going to import my first esxi-01 host, which is so pretty much easy. Since this is installing from OVA, and it's just going to boot up. And while this is booting up, I'll minimize the workstation, open up a Google Chrome, and we'll prepare ourselves for UI to test out as well. So once you install the first esxi, you can actually clone them, create the second one, third one, or fourth one, and so on. And then you can create your, you know, networking and so on. So basically, I will make some changes to this one, and then once I make the changes, I will go ahead and clone them. But once I clone them, I don't want network to be same on all of them, so I have to reset networking settings individually, so I don't have a problem, you know, with the conflict of IPs and host names and so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and, so this one came up already. So it picked up an IP address of 189. So let's go and try this out. So if I go to 192.168.1.189, and it's just going to go advanced, proceed to the, and then I'm going to log in as root and log in. So for the first time I'm logging into this box, I'm going to uncheck this one. Okay, so it's basically ready to go, right? So, and I'm able to log in, and it took like less than a minute to configure this. Okay, so go back to here. So what we want to do is basically I want to shut this one down and add a couple of more adapters, and then I'm gonna basically let's do F12 and put the password, and it says shutdown is F2. I'm just gonna do F2, basically go to shutdown. So what I want to do is before I clone it, I want to add a few more adapters, network adapters to it, and then after that we can just go ahead and clone it. So I'm just going to basically go to settings of this machine. Right? So I have two bridge networks here. What I want to do is I want to add two more because I want to use some of these adapters for different purposes. So I'm going to put one more, and then instead of NAT, I'm just going to go pick the bridged and connected power on. I want to add one more network adapter, finish, and I also want that to be bridged, and I'm good right now. All I'm doing is just OK, and now I have 4 bridge network adapters, 8 gig RAM, 2 processors per that. So what I want to do is now I want to clone this up. So I'm going to go ahead and manage, clone. So what I want to do is I'm going to basically leverage the current state of the virtual machine, and I want to create a full clone, not the, and then I'm just going to say New York esxi-02, and then I'm going to copy this here. So I'm going to repeat this process a couple of more times. So I'm just going to copy, say finish, and close. That should do it pretty fast. There we go. I'm going to do this a few more times. Manage, clone, next, current state, full clone, next, and 03, finished, close, and then one more time. I'm going to do manage, clone, next, current state, full clone, and 04, and finish, and close. So what happens is each one of them, because I cloned from the first one, network settings are going to be messed up. So what I want to do is I want to power each one of them and reset settings, and then I'm going to power them back off. So let's power this guy on. I'm going to do the same thing here. Go power this one on, power this one on. So I'm going to go ahead and reset each one of them pretty quickly once they boot up. This is something that you definitely need to do. Also, it's a good idea to go and give them IP addresses rather than picking up a DHCP. So you can do that later on. Right now, I did not reserve any IP addresses for them. So I'm just going to go and pick the DHCP at this moment. But they're all booting up. They're all going to be booting up New York 3, New York 4. So I'm going to start with New York 2 because that's the first one that I boot up. And then we're going to go install the vCenter server right after that. Okay. It's booting up because now we're using 8x3 24 gig RAM on a 64 gig box. So they're booting up. Again, I'm not doing anything on the esxi1 because esxi1 was the original one that we set that up, so I can just power that on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to power that on after I reset the network settings on these and then reboot them. Okay, came up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do F2 here, log into this box. Oops. I'm typing it fast. And what I'm doing is I'm going to go to configure network restore options. I'm going to go restore network settings. I'm going to say, do you want to reset? Yes, I want to reset this F11. Basically, I'm setting up and then OK. And then I'm just going to go escape. And I can just restart network management if I want to. Again, F11 will be that one. And now what I want to do is, either way, I want to go and reboot this host, right? So I can just basically get out of the screen here and right click on the here and power restart gas. Okay. And now I'm going to do the same thing on S3. I'm going to log in F2. Then I'm going to go to network restore options. Restore network settings. Yes, I want to reset F11. Okay. And restart management network. F11. I'm kind of done with this too. So I'm going to go and right here, right click, oops, right click. I'm going to do power, restart gas, yes, one more time, F2, VMware network restore options, reset network, F11, because I cloned them. If I didn't clone them, I didn't have to do this, right? That's the only reason I'm doing this. And restart management, F11, and I think it should be good. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Right click, power, restart, yes. So now, since they're all restarting, I can go ahead and power on my first machine as well. Now what we want to do is we're going to install a vCenter server. So vCenter server, you go ahead and download the package. What you need to do is you're going to extract this package. Basically, I'm going to open it up here. This is an ISO image, so you can go ahead and open it up. While the machines are coming up alone as well. Okay, say open ISO. So basically now we have a mounted drive, D drive. So if you go ahead and install vCSA directly from here, from the appliance, you're going to have a problem. Basically, in order to fix the problem, again, because this is a nested esxi, so you're running a esxi and vCenter inside the already workstation. So you need to make sure that you turn this OVA file, so this is currently an OVA file, into OVF file, and you have to use the OVF tool. So what we want to do is we're going to open up a command prompt as an administrator. Yes. And what I want to do is I'm going to go and basically go to CD, first of all, CD to all the way up. Right? I'm going to go to CD users, and I'm going to go to my current user, Tolga, and I'm going to go to my desktop, and then dir. So I'm in CD HomeLab, and basically that's where my directory is. But what I want to do is I'm going to go to E drive, and in the E drive I'm going to leverage OVF tool. So there's basically under the vCSA. So if I am dir, so I'm going to go to vCSA, and inside the vCSA there's an OVF tool. So basically I'm going to go to CD OVF tool, and I'm going to run OVF tool. The executable, of course, it's a Windows 32, and I'm going to say OVF tool.exe, and what I want to do is I want to basically say vCSA, and what I want to do is VMware OVA file, and I want to turn this into a, so I'm going to actually put this on C drive. Oops. I'm going to convert it to C drive. Oops. So first of all, I'm going to put the name of the file. I'm going to use the same file name, except I want to use the OVF at the end. So, but I'm going to put this under C, users, Tolga, desktop. Let's make the screen bigger. Tolga, desktop, HomeLab, and what I want to do is I want to copy this file name. Basically, go show more options. Come on. Come on. Sometimes don't you love Windows, huh? Oops, I got disconnected here. What's going on? The system is updating something. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm just going to go and name it as VCSA, I guess, instead of that. Okay, so I'm just going to VCSA dot OVF. So I'm turning basically OVA to OVF. Okay. So it's creating the OVF. So now let's process. Let's go to open up a new HomeLab area here, so we can see what's going on. Cancel, cancel. I don't want to remove anything. Open up a new Explorer. Desktop. Desktop. HomeLab. So it's creating, as you see, it's creating VCSA disk 1 with additional information here. And we already had 3 files there. VMware Workstation, VCSA all, and that. So now we're waiting 22%. Let me pause this video and wait until that is done. Okay, the installation successfully completed. So now if I go back to the HomeLab directory, it created all these files. What I want to do is I should have created a directory. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go click on new folder VCSA here, and maybe I want to say it new, so it actually has that. And I'm going to move all these files that just created by the system, move into this same directory here. And what we're going to do is we're going to delete the VCSA MF file. We do not need that, and no confusion. And on top of that, what we're going to do is, and the reason we are doing this basically is, if you do not do this during the deployment on the stage 2 configuration, you will receive a message from VMware saying that you encounter an internal error, and error is basically unprecedented and unrecoverable, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. So basically, that's why we created OVF file from OVA. And what we want to do is we want to remove that RM file, MF file first, delete it. And what we're going to do is we're going to edit the VCSA OVF file, and we're going to change, there is a configuration called OVF user configurable option. So basically what I want to do is I want to come here, and so basically there's the RPM package JSON file, and these are the disk files, and this is the file that you want to edit. So I'm going to edit this. So you want to edit this with a notepad editor or something like that. So I'm just going to say just once. So here it is, and we're going to search for, I'm just going to go and basically find OVF configurable option. So basically what I want to do is I want to search for guest info CIS upgrade import directory. So what I want to do is maybe I'll search for that here. And over here, the OVS, here it is, this is the thing. OVF configurable, user configurable is false. So what I want to do is I want to make this to true. And I want to save this file. And I am basically ready to go. So that's the only thing that I need to do. In this moment, I can just double click, and this is where we're going to install vCenter. So I'm going to go and click on next, and with the name of the, so I'm going to call it New York vCenter 01. So again, the reason I'm doing this 01 because I might have multiple vCenter servers, so I'm just going to call it that way. And then I'm going to use tiny embedded vCenter server, and over here on the network configuration I want to use IP version 4, and on the mode I want DHCP. That is like very important to, you know, I think you don't need to do anything else other than that two settings. Of course, if you have other you know, SSO and system configuration that we want to do, but these are the two fields that you want to do it. And then I go to SSO. I want to basically create an SSO here, password, and on the system configuration I want to also give it a password, and I think anything else I'm going to leave it as default, you know, networking, domain name, things like that. So I'm just going to go, everything else is default. I'm not touching anything else. I'm going to say import. At this moment, we're basically importing the vCenter server for New York. And while this is installing itself, we can go and check these IP addresses for these boxes too. So this one has, let me just move this a little bit. So I got 168 here. On this one is 166. Third one is, let's see, we have more than 166. So you want to make sure that we have different IP addresses for each esxi server, or we can just go and make sure that we give them a static IPs, right? And then IP version 6, I actually don't even want to. Oh, we got disconnected from the box. Let me just connect back. MSTSC, connect back to the box. Well, nothing is happening. It's just a remote desktop connection lost. It's gonna come back to where we were. Okay, in the meantime, vCenter server is already been imported and now it's turning it on. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we set up a few more fields, and then we're good to go. So let it boot up. In the meantime, let's look at these boxes. Again, this one is 168, this one is 166, this one is 177, and this one is 167. So they all have different IP addresses. And then vCenter server, it's going to take a little bit more time to get it. So we want to make sure we wait until that is done. Let's pause until that is completed, and we'll come back. Okay, vCenter should be back operational. Yes, it is. But in the meantime, what I want to do is I want to assign IP addresses. So I'm going to go ahead and do this on New York starting 4. A couple of things we need to do is log in here. In my case, I decided to assign IP addresses consecutively for these machines. So for example, what I want to do is I'm going to go to configuration management network, and on the network IP version configuration. So I want to set instead of dynamic. So what I want to do is I want to use .60 as my vCenter server, 61, 62, 63, 64 as my this is going to be my number 4 server, and IP version 6 I want to disable it. And then DNS configuration, I want to go use the following and make sure I do ESX of New York ESXi-04. So, and then I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and restart this. So this will have a 64 IP address, and I'm going to do the rest of them as well very quickly. So I already made some changes to the networking part on those guys, but what I want to do is I want to just kind of like go to the number 3 server here. Okay, come on. It's hard to get the mouse out. Here you go, number 3. I'm gonna go in F1, F2, log in, and I already disabled the network on this, but I want to just configure IP version 4 set. So this is gonna be 63. And I'm just gonna go and say, go ahead and apply the changes. It should be done. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for the second server. Again, this is just a fight of the mouse. Okay, come on. This is 63 already. Go to here, F2, log in, and configure IP version set. This is gonna be 62. Apply yes, exit out. And then go to the first one, F1, F2, and go to the configure management network, IP version set 61, and then go and say yes. And then now we're ready to go to vCenter server. Finally, back to where we were supposed to go. vCenter server got an IP address of 162. So 162 is going to be DHCP. What we're going to do is we're going to set that up. So we're going to go here. Let's go to 192.168.1.162. Okay, we just have to make sure we put https:// making sure that that is the one. It looks like 162, yes, 192.168.1.162. Yep. Go back here. Oops. To 161.162. Let's see, why is it not pinging? Let's go to ping here. Ping 192.168.1.162. I'm getting ping. Okay. Let's pause this for a second. Troubleshoot for a second. Of course, we're going to set that up. So we are in stage 1. So we need to go to 5480 first and set that up. So I go to 5480, go to proceed. So we're going to log in for the first time to set up the second stage. So what we're going to do is we're going to finalize the setup process. Click on setup, click on next, network configuration. I'm going to assign IP address. I'm going to here go say New York vCenter 01. This is going to be 60. Everything else is going to be same. Time synchronization, synchronize with the esxi host. SSH access activated. And over here, I can just go to vtolga.New York is my domain. So vtolga.New York. Okay. Next. I'm going to set up the SSO configuration. The secondary setup process is going to take some time too, so we're going to pause that once we go through this information, and then we should be good to go. And let's pause it here. Okay, so what we want to do is we toolget New York and single sign-on password. I'm using the same one, and you can join an existing SSO domain as well. And I don't want to join the customer experience program, and go ahead and finish. You will not be able to pause. Okay, so it's the process starts. This is going to take some time. Once it starts, I'm going to pause the video again. Here we go. Okay, stage 2 has been completed. Let's close this up. And here you go. We can just go to the vCenter server, proceed. So this is where you will log into administrator at New York, I said. And here is basically when I can set up all kinds of monitoring, networking, firewall, all kinds of stuff, syslog. But then what we're going to do is we're going to go to IP address itself, 60, oops, not the 5480, 60, and go ahead, launch vSphere client. Okay, so we're in vCenter server already. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add the host, but right before we add, we don't want any type of networking problems. So what we want to do is, since this is an esxi host running inside a workstation, which is a nested lab. So what we want to do is we want to go back to workstation and go back to home of the workstation, and let's go power down our host, basically shut down guests on all of them. And I'm just going to do a few of them here, so you can just do the same thing. Shut down guests on esxi 2, 3, and of course 4, right? Shut down guests. So the reason we're doing this, we're going to go ahead and add some configuration changes to their networking. And the reason I didn't show up I just wanted to show it to you. So if you go to settings, if you remember, each host has 4 bridge network cards. So what we want to do is we want this network cards to be able to see outside promiscuous mode, to be able to see everything that's coming in and out from traffic perspective. So what we want to do is we basically want to make sure that we turn them into promiscuous mode. So how we do this is you basically go to your virtual machine directory, wherever you put that up. In my case, it's under the virtual machines, and here's esxi 1, 2, 3, 4, and vCenter server 1. They're all under its own. So what you need to do is you have to go to each one of these esxi hosts. We could have done this actually before we clone it up, but basically I forgot, and now we're doing it. So we want to find out the VMware virtual machine configuration file for esxi1, so which is this one. It's a text file. So what we want to do is we want to open that text file with some type of editor. So Notepad++ is what usually should be used, but I don't have it installed here, so I'm going to use Open Notepad. So if you look at this particular Notepad, because we use William Lamb's nested esxi host, we basically need to scroll down all the way, and you'll see Ethernet 0 here, Ethernet 1 here, Ethernet 2 here, and so on. So the old settings are there. So we can do this one by one, but what we want to do is we want to go at the end of the file, and I have a configuration that I want to apply into this. And let's basically, let me open that up. I must have closed it. So let me go open that up for a second. Just 1 second. And there is a specific settings that we need to add. And these settings are, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our, oh, here it is, Ethernet promiscuous mode. So what we want to do is we're going to add these 4 lines. And what we're saying is make Ethernet 0 promiscuous equals to false. Same thing for 2, 1, 2, and 3. So the total of 4 cards. So I'm going to go here and paste them right there at the bottom. So I'm making Ethernet 0, 1, 2, and 3 promiscuous mode false. So basically it's going to be turning them on. So I'm just going to save that up. So this is for esxi1. So I go back and go back to virtual machine, do the same thing for esxi2, making sure that I'm opening the proper file, which is the VMX file, and I'm going to open with Notepad. I'm going at the bottom of it. And basically pasting this information and saving it, right? File, save. I'm not touching anything else. And I'm going to do this. Make sure you want to save configuration. Oh, we don't want, okay, cancel this one for a second. And we're going to go one more time to virtual machine 3. And I'm going to do that later on for 4. So, and here it is. Edit, open with Notepad, scroll down and paste this, and I want to save it and close this one up. So we're done with this pretty much. So I'm gonna close this up. I don't want to save it, and now we can go ahead and power on all these machines back again. Power on, power on, power on, and 4 is already powered on. So now let's go back to our vCenter server. So there's 2 entries to the vCenter server, and then you can look at that from here itself. If you go to vCenter server 1, it will show you that you can go to, you know, of course, 443 port, or you can go to 5480 port. So what we're going to do is to get a support bundle, we have an IP address, or we have the 5480. So what I want to do is I basically went to IP address and click on that, but you can also go to 5480 port of the same exact vCenter server, and if you log in with the credentials, you'll be able to configure some of the things, and you'll see the networking and so on. So you can see networking of the vCenter server and monitoring services. We talked about this a little bit before. These services are running behind the scene. Now, I don't care about this at the moment. I can collect syslog here, and I can configure if you have a syslog server. That's all I care. But what I want to do is I want to go back here. Now I want to create my data center. So I'm going to right click on the data center, and I am on the inventory mode. And I'm going to call my data center, New York 203. That's what my data center is going to name. I can name whatever you want. You can call it, anything. And I'm going to go ahead and add as. I think the host should be back up and running. So basically, we're going to start with the first host, which is going to be 192.168.1.61. 60 is our vCenter server. 61 is my first host. Click on next. I need to provide the username and password for it. So I'm doing this one time. I'm making sure that I properly do that. And once I put that information, okay, so lagging a little bit. Just want to make sure I put that correctly. And then click on next. I should be, if I did follow the right steps, maybe I'm getting a pop-up screen saying the yes or no for the shared secret key. You should just say yes. I didn't get that up because I tested this beforehand. And I'm going to click on next, 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 and I'm giving a evaluation license to it, and I'm going to go click on next and finish it up. So, and basically you're going to do the same thing for, now it's going to add the esxi1 to it and esxi1 to it, and then I'm going to do the same thing for esxi2, 3, and 4, and then you can pretty much configure networking right after that. So it is now adding the esxi host, and I do the same thing for 2, 3, and 4. It will be all listed, and that's the end of pretty much this video. And of course, from that point on, it's if you want to configure virtual switches, you do it from here. If you want to switch via kernel adapters, you do it from here. Physical adapters, you're going to see we have 4 of them that we added. Currently only one of them is being used. We're going to do it from here. If you want to do esxi, I'm going to go to storage adapters and add a software adapter. I can do esxi adapter or NVMe or TCP adapter if I want to connect to a esxi or NFS volumes. So I can do everything through here. I can monitor the esxi from here. So pretty much like anything can be done from there at this moment. And again, keep adding the other host and we're good to go. So you have a lab environment that's running on your machine in a workstation or a Fusion with 4 esxi and 1 virtual center server.